Hello, my dear friends. This is Gufi Paintal. Today we have with us Sudhir Tiku from Singapore, who is the author of book Life Stolen. Apart from being a writer, Sudhir is an automation and artificial intelligence professional. So let us start the conversation by trying to find why the book has this intriguing title, Life Stolen. So there you are, Sudhir.
First of all, it's a great honor for me to get a chance and opportunity to talk to you, to engage with you, because I have kind of grown up watching your classical character in quintessential Indian epic Mahabharata, which is such a great repository of knowledge and learning. And coming to your great observation and question on the title of the book, which is Life Stolen, which is, yes, I agree, very intriguing, and if I may add, is also metaphorical. Life Stolen, the title actually sums up this basic fundamental that all of us have in our lives, is that the quality of the life that we live basically depends on the quality of the choices that we undertake. This is a book which depicts the choices that Ashwin Bhatt, the charming Kashmiri refugee, undertakes, and also the very talented Jordan Singh, who also executes some choices in his life which have repercussions. And hence the book is kind of a reminder to all of us that sometimes the choices that we make in life are not simple. Yeah, they are complex, and where our past gets connected to our present, and the vision of the future also kind of makes things interesting. So choices sometimes are not unidimensional. They are having multiple dimensions, and there is perspective, and seeing this all in a nutshell, one can very easily conclude that the lives that we undertake can be happy, can be sad, there can be redemption, or the lives can even be stolen if the quality of the choices that we undertake are not superior, are not fed with maturity, and hence this was a very apt title for the book, because I wanted to paint this three-dimensional canvas of how choices operate in our lives.
The book is historical fiction and has heavy reference to Greek myths. Any particular reason for it?
Yes, this book starts its journey in Kashmir and gets developed in a village called Miran Sahib, which is a small village in the temple city of Jammu. I am a proud Kashmiri Pandit. I was a refugee once, and though I live in Singapore now, I think I'll stay a refugee all my life. That's my identity. And answering your question, if there are some real characters, most of the characters in the book are fictional. Yeah, and of course you get inspired by the experiences that you encounter in your life. But most of the characters in the book, as I explained, are fictional. But however, I wanted to make one more point here about history, is that while answering your previous question, I talked about the beauty and brilliance of history, but there are also instances which you will read in this book where history has been unkind, where history has tormented innocent people like the Kashmiri Pandits. And I think this book is also a reflection of how the errors of history should be or could be corrected. And ultimately, in the storyline, you will see that Ashwin Bhatt in the end has to make a choice, and he does not get driven by the by the pain that he has seen in his life, or does not get driven by how unkind history has been to his forefathers, but makes a very, very moral choice. And hence, the moral of the story in the end for all of us is that while history can be unkind, and while history can be very difficult, I think as humans we have always attempted and will continue to attempt, that we attempt to do our best to see that big picture where humanity ultimately should rule.
The book starts in Kashmir, and you yourself, a Kashmiri Pandit. Are there any characters in the book which are real?
Yes, Ashwin Bhatt and Jordan Singh are the two hearts of this book. They are great friends. Both of them are negotiating life in their late teens. Both of them are mired in extreme poverty, and both of them are forced to make choices in their life. And Jordan Singh unfortunately makes a very difficult choice where he decides to become a part-time cross-country spy, and he feels that he would be able to come back to India after executing his spy project. But unfortunately that does not happen, because somebody from his family betrays him and hands him over to the authorities in a foreign country. And Jordan Singh, in the prime of his youth, dies. And I got this feedback from many readers that that was very tough, and Jordan passing away so soon in his life in the middle of the book was kind of surprising and shocking. I think that was kind of intentional, because I wanted to handle the topic of death in perspective, because when people die, sometimes there is also a meaning to it, and death is not always about a loss. It's also about regaining that feeling that life is ultimately transient, and we should kind of be very careful of how we want to shape our life. Unfortunately, Jordan Singh is not able to shape his life the way he had wanted, and ends up getting into a very difficult situation, and that has impact on Ashwin, and creates a huge identity crisis for him, because he loses his greatest buddy, his soulmate, his friend, and there is some learning for him also in the book. But yes, I think for the storyline, it was very important that we inserted this sequence of Jordan Singh becoming a spy and ultimately facing a difficult end.
Well, according to me, the two important characters in the book are Ashwin and Jordan, and both are great friends until Jordan dies. I want to ask, was that necessary?
Shrain is the female lead of the book. Ashwin Bhatt falls in love with her yellow eyes, and the character of Shrain is basically developed to demonstrate how superstition can destroy the ethos of life and love. And that is what exactly happens to the love story of Ashwin and Shrain, because Shrain is extremely obsessed with the seeds of love and life. Then I feel it's not worth it.
The character of Shrain, the love interest of Ashwin, has shades. What did you want to portray through this character?
Yeah, Ivan is a very charming Russian character of the book, and he spends some high quality time with Ashwin Bhatt when he is having a battle with himself after having spent some very difficult time in the jungles of Burma. And Ivan, being this structural engineer, is also very structured in his life, and he attempts to solve the crisis that Ashwin goes through. And during one of their discussions, the question that comes up is that who am I? And this is a very difficult question. All of us agree, and the book attempts to answer this question in detail, from an historical point of view, from a philosophical point of view, from a biological point of view, and also from a metaphysical point of view. That who are we as individuals, and what should be the purpose of our life. I think that all gets clearly explained and defined in the book. I will have to encourage all the readers to go through the book to find hopefully a realistic and honest answer to this very important question. I don't want to give more hints about the answer of this question, because the book ultimately defines who I am.
Well, I like the character of Ivan in the chapter called Who Am I? Tell me, will the readers find answer to this interesting question? The book ends with a big flood, and Ashwin has to give a sacrifice. What is the meaning of sacrifice in deeper terms? Last but not the least, Sudhir, can we expect more books from you in future? Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
The last chapter of the book is called The Deluge of Kashmir, wherein a big flood or a sahlab emerges and leaves behind a trail of death and destruction. And Ashwin also gets stuck in this flood, and he in this flood meets the same person who was responsible for destroying his love life and kind of uprooting the feelings that he had for Shrem. And in this flood, there is a background, and the history of Kashmir gets discussed, and then we come back to the present and to this flood, and Ashwin has to make a choice, and he has a choice of making a decision which has far-reaching ramification, and he makes a decision which is very, very moral, and he kind of demonstrates that the choice that he makes may not be good for his personal sake, but it kind of paints that big picture of humanity in the end. And Ashwin Bhatt, like Jordan Singh, also has a difficult end, but this end is putting him on a very high moral ground, and keeps the hopes of a life which is based on fairness alive. The last chapter of the book is called The Deluge of Kashmir, wherein a big flood or a sahlab emerges and leaves behind a trail of death and destruction. And Ashwin also gets stuck in this flood, and he in this flood meets the same person who was responsible for destroying his love life and kind of uprooting the feelings that he had for Shrem. And in this flood, there is a background, and the history of Kashmir gets discussed, and then we come back to the present and to this flood, and Ashwin has to make a choice, and he has a choice of making a decision which has far-reaching ramification, and he makes a decision which is very, very moral, and he kind of demonstrates that the choice that he makes may not be good for his personal sake, but it kind of paints that big picture of humanity in the end. And Ashwin Bhatt, like Jordan Singh, also has a difficult end, but this end is putting him on a very high moral ground, and keeps the hopes of a life which is based on fairness alive.
Last but not the least, Sudhir, can we expect more books from you in future?
Yes, I will be writing more books. Writing has been my passion. It has been a great experience writing this first book of mine, Life Stolen, and I can promise you that I will be very soon coming back with my second book, and hopefully getting a chance once again to engage with you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.